Hi everyone, welcome to the presentation on Principles of Physical Fitness. What's it all about? Today's presentation, health-related components of physical fitness, training principles, the FITT and exercise prescriptions, and finishing off with some research. So what is fitness really? Well, one way to describe it is your body's ability to deal with the effort required by life's daily tasks and still having some energy left over to have fun. Another way to think of fitness, and another way to describe it, is your body's suitability to its environment. So it's split into two categories. Fitness is split into two categories. There is skill-related fitness and health-related fitness. Skill-related fitness involves things like agility, balance, hand-eye coordination, power, timing, speed. They're things that can affect your athletic performance and things that you can improve merely by practicing them. Unfortunately, though, you can't really juggle your way out of the hospital, so let's talk about health-related components of physical fitness. So these are the ones that matter more for day-to-day well-being. They include cardiorespiratory endurance, muscular strength and muscular endurance. Sometimes these are broken up into two different categories, but we're going to think of them sort of in the same category and talk about them more in the resistance training chapter. Number 3 is flexibility. And finally, number 4, body composition. Each of these are deserving of their own chapter, and they will have one in future presentations. Now, these are the 4 components that make you fit, and we will cover them in the future. But for now, let's look at some training principles that are going to apply to each of them. And so these are general principles that can help you get the change that you're after, and they apply to each of the different components of health-related physical fitness. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. Charles Darwin. That's a nice little quote to get us started to talk about general adaptation syndrome, which is the concept that can help us understand how our bodies react to exercise. So general adaptation syndrome, which is shortly abbreviated as GAS, basically it's the idea of how you get the training effect. So you expose your body to a new environment created by exercise, and your body's going to adapt to that environment to get the training effect that is in line with what that environment needs, really. So here's some basic ideas, some training principles that sort of help you fill out this notion. So they are overload, periodization, and specificity. We're going to look at them one by one now. Overload is the idea that you're only going to experience changes in fitness if you expose your body to loads or demands or intensities that go above and beyond what you're used to being exposed to on a day-to-day basis. For example, if you're used to carrying your purse around all day, then don't expect to go to the gym and lift something up that weighs just as much as your purse does and get stronger. If you're used to doing that, then that's really not a challenge for you, so you got to lift something heavier. Or this also applies to, say, cardiovascular endurance. If you're used to sort of walking to work and it's not really a challenge for you, then don't expect it to be improving your fitness. You can maintain your fitness, but if you want to work out in that sense, you're probably going to have to go a little bit faster or for a little bit longer or up a hill or something like that. The second idea here is periodization, and that's the idea that you need to change the load that you're exposing yourself to, or the intensity of the workout, over time. Because let's say you start training with a 10-pound weight, for example, and after a couple months you start to feel like this 10-pound weight is easier to deal with because you've gotten stronger. Well, if you still want to experience gains in fitness, you're going to have to increase the stimulus so that you're forced to become stronger or have better endurance or more cardiovascular endurance or whatever it is. So that's the idea. Another way to talk about periodization is to call it progressive overload. If you're not really training for a specific event and you're just training to improve your fitness, then that's the general tendency that you're going to follow is progressive overload. So you have the overload, and then you're going to have to progressively increase that or change it so that you're constantly challenging yourself. Third, we have the idea of specificity, meaning you're only going to get better at what you practice. So the muscles, the energy systems, and the ranges of motion used are the things that are going to improve. You're not going to get better at running marathons by doing sprints, and you're not going to get really great legs by doing chesbra, chesbra, chesbra. So those are the ideas, and that one's pretty simple, but some people sort of miss the boat on that one. They go and they just train in any way, and they think they're going to get better in every way. So in order to get the change and the transformation that you're after, we're going to have to make some distinctions between sort of how hard and how often and what you have to do. And one of those distinctions is sort of the difference between physical activity and exercise. Now, in speaking with people all the time, you'll probably use these terms almost interchangeably. Let's get picky about them, and then we can talk about them in a general way. So physical activity, in a very technical sense, is any movement of the musculoskeletal system that requires energy. So although you may not think of sipping your latte in the cafe as physical activity, technically it is physical activity. But when we talk about physical activity in day-to-day language, we really sort of mean exercise. And so exercise is a type of physical activity, so a movement of the body via the musculoskeletal system that requires energy, that is planned and organized with the goal in mind of improving your fitness. So, how much of this physical activity or exercise do we need? Well, we've got some really great recommendations that come out of research for that, and they are from two great governing bodies, the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology and the American College of Sports Medicine. They're both absolutely on board with the same recommendations. They say 150 minutes a week. That's about 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and pretty much double for kids. That's deliberate physical activity with the goal of improving your fitness. And that's minimum. Okay, remember, that's absolute minimum. That's if you don't do it, you are getting worse. If you don't do it, you're equivalent of smoking or eating cheeseburgers for breakfast every day. If you don't do it, that's a risk factor that you're exposing yourself to. Your sedentary lifestyle is slowly killing you. So that's the minimum. You can do more and get more benefits, but that's sort of the minimum what you need to be doing in order to take care of yourself. But now, what counts? What counts as part of this 150 minutes? How hard do I have to be working during that time in order to get the changes that I'm after and get all those health benefits that I want? Well, for that we have the FITT exercise prescription idea or concept. So FITT is an acronym that stands for different things. Let's go through the letters one by one. F stands for frequency or fatness. Frequency. I stands for intestines or intensity. Intensity. The first T stands for teamwork or time. Time. And the last T for type or think. Type, but not that type of type. So, frequency, intensity, time, and type. How often, how hard, how long, and how. We're going to take these questions and use this formula to address the different ideas. So we're going to address flexibility first, then we're going to address cardiovascular endurance or cardiorespiratory endurance, and then we'll address resistance training. So with each of these domains or types of exercise or types of areas of fitness, we'll look at how often, how hard, how long, and how. And that way you'll get a better idea of what these recommendations really mean. So let's finish off with a little bit of research here. We talk about physical benefits a lot and disease prevention and all this jazz, but really the effects of exercise are much further reaching than that. It's not just physical. The physicality of your body and your brain and mind are not as separated as we once thought they were. So can exercise make you smarter? In short, yes it can. Huh? Here we go, let's look at what the research says. Recent evidence shows that regular physical activity has the following positive effects on the human brain. Improves cognitive function, being learning, memory, and reasoning. Yikes, that's huge! Promotes neurogenesis, the creation of new brain and nerve cells. In fact, when researchers are doing experiments on tumor development or things to do with the brain on mice, and they need the brains of the mice to grow really quickly, what they do is they force the mice to exercise. Because when the mice exercise, just as when humans exercise, there's a production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is like Miracle-Gro or fertilizer for the brain, and just results in outrageous growth in brain, or outrageous neurogenesis. So that's just an interesting little anecdote to talk about neurogenesis. What else does exercise do for the brain? It protects against neurodegenerative disorders such as Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. enhances neuroplasticity and the brain's ability to recover from trauma, as well as improves mental health and decreases the risk of mental illness. So quite a lot that exercise can do for your brain and your mental health. So in addition to just having these sort of very physical changes in response to an exercise program, like this young guy who got into bodybuilding, you might also experience some other additional benefits, some psychological benefits in terms of your mood and affect, as well as just your cognitive ability, or how well you can remember things and learn things, and your mental health at large. So, takeaway message: 150 minutes. Don't consider it a penalty or a sentence to be carried out. Try to enjoy it. In fact, find a way to enjoy it. Find something you like to do. And that's probably the best thing that you can do, is instead of worried about intensity and time and type, which we will talk about, but find something you like doing. Get your 30 minutes in a day. You'll feel better right away. Thanks everyone. The presentation's over. Go get fit. F-I-T-T. Frequency, intensity, time, and type. Find something you like to do. Really. If you don't like going to the gym and working out on a treadmill, don't do that. Go do something you like to do. Go play soccer, basketball. If you don't like to do that, then go do something you like to do. Go swimming, dancing, yoga, whatever it is that you like to do. Find it, do it, love it, live it, be it. Take care, everybody.